like to say she didn't touch a hair in my head, but that would be a lie. Everything. I'll take my time. It won't do to miss things out. I'm sure I'd never seen her before. Names won't stay with me, but a face is my prisoner for life. I'd been living in the house for a good while. To be straight, I was living in just the upstairs room. It wasn't always empty either. People came and went. I didn't mind them and they didn't mind me, and sometimes we knew each other. It used to be a shop on a parade that was full of shops. Arlett's the butcher, a bakery with its bicycle outside, a post office run by two old women who looked like twins, and this one on the end, which was a fancy cobbler's. It had a sign painted in gold across the window, Hewitt's Shoe Repairs and Fittings, with Bespoke picked out in smaller lettering underneath. The front was already boarded up when I came back, but the words were still there in the glass. You could see them, etched backwards from the inside. I knew what it said anyway. I had visited this place when I was a girl. Hewitt led me into the back room for a fitting, he said. Called it the personal touch. He had devices, methods, cunning hands. The only window that wasn't boarded up was the upstairs bedroom at the front, which is why I liked it. At night, you could look out at the blackness, see the stars. All the other sleepers stayed downstairs. They were just lads, really. Lads with nowhere else to go. Lads afraid of ghosts. They said they could hear Hewitt bumping about, and one of them told me he saw him on the top landing, holding an iron bar above his head. "Describe him, then," I said. And the lad puffed himself out big and made a roar. Well, that wasn't Hewitt. He was small, with a face like a ventriloquist's dummy and a voice to fit, as if he'd got a tiny man trapped in his throat. So perhaps the lads were just trying to scare me off. They couldn't know, could they, that Hewitt's ghost wouldn't frighten me one bit. It wouldn't hurt me to think of his restless spirit. But I don't like to think of Hewitt at all, if I'm true. Not of him, or his time. I used to call it before, like BC but without the Christ. Then I stopped calling it anything, and the past didn't trouble me. This is the only time there is, I used to tell myself. There never was a before. I got to thinking it was a fact. That was how I managed. It's not as if I was a derelict. I knew what I wasn't, even if I didn't know what I used to be. And I can remember things if I'm pushed. The sisters from the house had found me a place, let me out the side door and put me on my way. Run by nuns, they said, as if I hadn't had enough of them already. I might have gone there, but I knew what they would want. They would want to cleanse me. Start with my soul, I'd say. But they wanted me clean from the outside in, pulling at my clothes like a clutch of thieves. They said I was an object who had fleas. They said cleanliness is next to godliness. Well, I know that's a lie. I wasn't having that, lying nuns and thieving to boot. And it was me who was supposed to be the thief, me the liar. When the sisters decided I could obey the rules, they let me go. I took my case and walked. And when I found Hewitt's place again, I stayed. They'd laugh at me now, the nuns, now that I've lost everything to a sly girl in the dark. The day she came was ordinary. Sometimes there's an event, like a snow, or a fun fair, or Christmas lights going on in the city, and it reminds you how the year rolls over. But mostly there's no edge, just tumbling days, which is how I like it. I have a routine which is rarely spoiled. It stops me having to think.